Hello everyone and welcome back for this last episode of that playthrough playing Zhao Ming on Total War Warhammer 3 way above legendary difficulty. No name here, I hope you guys are doing great. That special episode is just going to be a quick recap as to what happened during that during those 73 turns playing as Zhao Ming. Once again, sorry for broken English. So let's start immediately. We are ranked 16 in the game of the balance of power. As expected, there are only Chaos faction in the top 15 ranks due to the difficulty settings. Once again, all non-order faction or Chaos faction or whatever non-order affiliated faction got their income multiplied by 10. They had crazy high recruitment options. We had extra corruption on every settlement, order or non-order one. And I specifically had a minus 50% income from whatever source. Post-battle loot, trading, raidings, building and so forth. Same thing for the enemy non-order faction that had times 10 on every possible income type. And basic order faction had just their legendary settings, so that was quite tough. Ultimately, as you can see, we made it with Cathay completely under our control, Golden Order being our military ally. The extended Immortal Empire map on the east was under our control, except for that part was under heavy fire by us. We conquered the Kingdom of Ind. Or maybe this is supposed to be Kingdom of Inds and this other kingdom, I don't know. Like Southeast Asia, maybe something like this. Let's see the whole map. That might be a little bit laggy here. So the undead or in that case the Tom Kings also benefited from times 10, and that served them pretty well. Okay, so okay, the Skaven here are gone, or almost gone. The Cornet faction being at war with the Dark Elves must have been something. Okay, you really like that settlement, don't you? But Khorne is extremely strong here. Well, the Dark Elves were pretty strong as well.
This time, executing. First for battle.
No prey, no pay. Baying for blood.
Moratti did pretty well. She was starting to invade Uthwan against the Dark Elves of the Bloodhole Covenant.
Chosen of Hecate.
Noctilus would have probably been next. Belacor was still standing, being pretty passive apparently. Oh, but you still made it here. Oh, you were at war with Celestra, alright. And against, yeah, Nagaron, since they are allied of Celestra. You probably merged with, confederated with Hellebrand. You kicked Valkia. Okay. Celestra also kicked the Slaanesh Prince. Who are still standing here? Sigvald.
Witness my beauty.
Okay. Daniel was quite strong as well here in the Chaos Waste. That's impressive. The World Walkers were extremely strong. So who was first? Don't think it was Noctilus. Maybe Nagaran. Yeah, or the Cornet faction to the south in Lustria. Yeah, there are so many armies there that the first faction might have been from here. Well, hell of a ride. Let's see the statistics of that playthrough. So we now hold 141 settlements across 51 provinces. Let's see the record. It's gonna be way too slow. Yeah, it's gonna take way too much time. Let's speed this up manually. This part of the game, turns 30s, when we held the Great Bastion, and that led to some absolutely crazy fight. Even earlier. Yeah, to around 25, we fought at the Great Bastion so many times. It had no more gates, no more walls. We had 25 breaches during one of the fights. It was completely crazy. We held the line, assault over assault over assault, which might be the reason why we made that campaign further. Should the Bastion have fallen, we would have been swarmed by enemies. We were able to hold there, to concentrate all enemy armies at one point. That made us able to flourish in Cathay and be able to keep going and keep pushing. Well, that's some nice territory here. Unfortunately, more than half of it, I would say, is in inhabitable climate, which is a problem for me. What else could I... Statistics, alright. 33 turns, 441 settlements. Capture 138. I started with 1, so there's a problem here. Okay. Settlement lost 8. I don't know if the one that Dinch turned to some of my enemies counts here. Commandment inches 57, building constructed, alright. Faction destroyed 32. Most war 17. War declaration 85. Okay, that probably counts with the caravans and such, so that does not make much sense. Oh, that's interesting. Total income 4.8 million. 1.6 from the buildings. 1.1 from trade. So where do the 4.8 come from? Okay, that is probably slightly bugged. It does not compute for minus 50%. Yep, since this is about half of this. Yeah, that's the limits of using mods to mess up with my economy. Expenditures and upkeep and in construction half each. Recruitment, alright. So I don't know which one is wrong. Armies established 113. At the most I had 34. But most of them were pretty empty. That was just a lord to help with a garrison or something. Lords lost 152. Yeah, but I kicked many of them. So battles 454. More than half fought personally. Most of them were with garrison and such, so there was no point doing them because the replenishment would be on 100%. Total victory is 413. So defeats 41. So I still have around 10% defeats. I was above 10% defeats before that. I would say that 3/4 of those defeats, like probably around 30, were calculated defeats. Defeats that I was willing to get because in a grander order of things, they were wearing down the enemies so that a reinforcing army that would come up next turn would then win the fight and completely obliterate the enemy armies. So land battle defeats, yes. Ambush battle defeats. This one were probably not scheduled. Siege battle defeats maybe. Minor settlement battle defeat, alright. I occupied the settlements. I sacked 2, alright. Can't remember which ones. Yeah, that was the one above the bastion. Before I started going into the Chaos Waste, I looted, well, I sacked actually, the same settlement twice over there. Okay, taken on for replenishment or pardon for money. Lost 22 heroes, so that's weird. I don't think I lost 22, but never mind. Heroes action 83, but that counts for heroes joining some armies, so that doesn't make much sense. Doesn't say how much damage I've done and how many units I've killed. That's unfortunate. So Compass has been here for the last 50 turns or so. Caravans were always at maximum risk. The highest rank is Felix at rank 66. I made it to the early 60s on Jiaming, who by the way died once. Felix never died. Gotrek died twice. I have 2 settlements at tier 5, I think. Only 2. No, maybe 3. Yeah, you as well. So 3 settlements at tier 5, not fully upgraded yet, but the main settlement building is at tier 5. Can I see everyone? Yeah, nope, I can't see anyone. Well, that was a hell of a ride. I think 90% of the units I had, well, probably more. In the early game, 99%, and now probably more around 70%. So overall, I would say between 80 and 90% of my units were just peasants. I couldn't afford to get better ones, and we held the line with that. Peasants, Shogun guns as lords. a few legendary lord added from the mods here, just like every faction had a few extra ones. I'm very lucky Goldtooth here got so strong and so friend with me. Golden Order had much more trouble, but they still made it up to the end of this campaign. Reikland was gone. Well, they were under siege here and about to get their asses kicked over there. Karak was about to get completely gone as well. Karak Kadrin at some point was strong but started falling quite late. Clanangrud just made it back, between 1 and 3 settlements back and forth during this campaign. Karak Ziflin amazingly is still standing. Bastion Errant is about to completely fall. Knights of Caledor as well, surprisingly, are still standing. They were conquered here, but they reconquered their settlements after a while. Scaling. Norscan faction are extremely strong. Disciples of the Maw were about to start falling. Clanmos was quite strong. Principality of Lucini pretty resilient, despite being surrounded by Skavens and vampires. Cult of Tsinsen would have been my nemesis, probably, extremely strong. Same thing with the Harbinger of Pain for the Dark Elves. Sylvania was ranked number 1 at some point. Okay, I even kicked the asses of the War Host of the Apocalypse. That's telling. And Wood Elves here took advantage of all the runes to take them. That's interesting. Alright, that's gonna be it for that quick recap. If you have anything to add, or if you have any commentary or question, please feel free to use the comment section. I would be glad to add extra insights or comment on anything that would come to your mind or that you would deem worthy to refer to question. Sorry for broken English once again. Hope you enjoyed that run. It was extremely pleasing for me to play. I really enjoyed that run. It was a real challenge. If you have any suggestion as to what faction I should play and how in the future, please let me know. I was considering Berakor at some point, which is for a change a pure melee faction, or an almost melee faction compared to Cathay that I played as a mostly ranged faction apart from a few heroes and lords. That could be the opposite with, more or less the opposite with Berakor, with everyone being pure melee. And yep, that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoyed. That has been a hell of a ride. As always, take care of yourselves. And see you soon for the next one, guys. Either Total War Warhammer 3 or another game. Cheers, guys.